We preview Auburn's Week 1 matchup versus the Alabama A&M Bulldogs on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Let's go, Auburn family, Uptempo gang. First preview show of the year, baby. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane coming at you live. Pensacola, Florida. My boy holding it down over there in the 251. And we are excited to preview game number 1 versus the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. The team Auburn's only faced twice, handled them both times. Blake, let's just get into it real quick, man. We kind of were looking before we went live here, trying to figure out some stuff about Alabama A&M. Not a whole lot to know, man. Over 50 new transfers coming in. They got new coordinators over there. Just a kind of hard team to judge. So tonight we're just going to look at it and kind of focus on it from the Auburn standpoint. It's not really a matchup. I hope Auburn has to worry about the opponent anyway. This should be a game where Auburn just gets to focus on Auburn and worry about Auburn things. But before we get into it, man, as always, how are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great. It's here. We got a game about to kick off. North Dakota State and the Colorado Buffaloes. So, yeah. And then, we got UNC and Minnesota. It's a good night for college football. Tomorrow night, we got some high school football. And then Saturday, it's Jordan Hare Stadium. It's back. The Auburn Tigers are back. In my opinion, it's one of the best feelings when Auburn runs out that smoke, man, and it's running through that AU. It puts chills on you. Each of you know how special that is, and it's been a long time, a long wait. And after the end of last year, and just all the hype of recruiting, and we hear the summer workouts, and then the fall camp, and we have finally made it. So I'm ready to break down the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. I'm ready to talk about what we want to see from the Auburn Tigers, and I am ready for the best fans in the country to make a difference Saturday inside Jordan Hare Stadium.
You make a great point about when Auburn runs on the field. It's like how can you be more hype, but also that feeling after a win. Me and you talk about this after any win. It's like unless if we come out here and struggle bust it. I think back to the Georgia State or the San Jose State. If it's something like that, then what I'm saying here is irrelevant. But if Auburn does what they're supposed to do and blows them out, man, I'm going to be sitting back feeling great. Like I'm not going to take anything I shouldn't from it, like overdo it. But just that feeling of an Auburn win when you wake up on Sunday morning, I miss it, man. I miss it. And I haven't had it since that Arkansas game where I thought we were rolling and then whatever happened at the end of the season happened. So I'm ready, to get back on that horse, see them trees covered in toilet paper again, man, like they deserve to be every Sunday morning, dude. So just fired up for this fan base. Like you mentioned, man, the recruiting, there's nothing you can do when the season ended the way it ended last year because you can't play any more games until the next season kicks off. All you can do is control the recruiting, control the narrative, and I think that Hugh Freeze has done an A+ job at both of those. Yeah. Obviously, the recruiting speaks for itself. It's going to be a big recruiting weekend. Just look at the list, dude. Like the guys that are coming. We kind of thought, or at least I did, that week 2 being the kind of the first big game of the year, your first Power 4 ACC opponent in Cal coming into Jordan Hare, right? And tune in next Tuesday night. We'll have our guy Thomas Dunn, beat writer for the Cal Golden Bears. We love Thomas, man. One of my favorite episodes we've ever done. Just had a nice rapport with him. He'll be on next Tuesday to preview Cal with us. But I kind of thought looking at that game, like that's going to be the game that's the first big recruiting list of the year.
Yep.
No, sir. Week 1, they don't care. That's Alabama A&M. Hugh Freeze is going to do it up. Naheem Alford, all kind of studs are going to be there. We think that a big-time flip will be coming this weekend as well. That's really going to have the fan base hype. So I'm just really excited for everybody, man. And then on the narrative part of what Hugh Freeze, what I was speaking on there, I think that he has calmed a lot of fans' nerves about Peyton Thorne. And at the very least, like, I believe him when he says he believes in Peyton Thorne. Like he sure has been. It's so different than the way he talked about the team and the situation last year. And I think a lot of that is him being back in charge of the offense and just knowing like, okay, this is my thing now. What I did last year was a mistake, and you remember he was uncomfortable with it from the day he made the decision. I think just now he feels like I'm in total control. I've got this recruiting momentum rolling. I know the mistakes I made last year. Let's get this thing kicked off, man. So just for the entire Auburn family, I'm ready to kind of it kind of feels like a fresh start come Saturday.
You were talking about getting back to Toomers and everything, and those big time Auburn wins. I know 2022 A&M was big time, all right, but the implications weren't there. It was two losing teams, all right. I want to get back to like 21 Ole Miss, where we're fighting for something. We were kind of hot right there, and Ole Miss and Lane come to town, and Matt Corral was getting Heisman hype and all of that stuff, and Auburn just went in and smacked them. And Toomers was just, I mean, it was lit. Like that's what the young kids say nowadays. It was lit, and it was fun, and you want to get back to those big time moments, man, where you welcome and what back then an SEC West foe and a team that now you unfortunately don't play every year. But you want to get back to those type of wins, and I think like you said, Hugh Freeze is kind of he's calmed the fan base down from what happened at the end of last year, and there's just been a lot of excitement from the national media, and that's what we always talk about is the national media isn't always for Auburn. We're like, well, why don't they ever talk about Auburn? Why don't they ever put Auburn in the spotlight? Y'all, we got put in the spotlight this summer. Like on 3 and JD Piquel, he highlighted Auburn. If you watch his show, he highlighted Auburn multiple times. He thinks Auburn is going to be 8-2 going into the A&M game. We got highlighted a ton. So I know a bunch of people say, oh, well, I like Auburn to lay low and undercover, and we just sneak up on people. I don't know if we're going to be able to sneak up on folks this year because Nick Saban sits at the desk on College Game Day and says, hey, I think Auburn's going to be the most improved team in the conference this year. There's another guy that's now a national media member, and he's talking highly of you. So I think what Hugh done from the end of last season in that bowl game and, the recruiting and summer workouts through fall camp, and he's eased the fan base, and he's kind of like a breath of fresh air, Dustin, where you're just like, man, no more last year talk. It's now. It's this year. Year 2, have an improved year, and let's keep pushing. And it starts with Alabama A&M, Dustin. Like, I don't think you can go out here and just. I've gotten a couple of DMs, and they say, "What do you think Auburn is going to do Saturday?" Like, I don't think you can just go out there and just run it down Alabama A&M's throat. I think you got to go out there and I know it's going to be base plays and vanilla because it's Alabama A&M. You don't want to put a lot on tape, but you got to look sharp, right? Same way on defense, man. You got to look sharp. So you just want an all-around A-plus performance, and hopefully nobody gets injured for that Cal game. And hopefully nobody's in this game past 3.5 quarters. All right. That's my mark right there is I don't want our starters to go into the 4th, So I think it starts Saturday. You got to put on a pretty dang good performance, and don't fiddle fart around, man. Like, go out there, get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested in seeing how this new time clock situation works with the new rules, because the Florida State and Georgia Tech game, both teams only had 7 possessions, but also I'm cautioning on if that's going to be a trend or not, because the way both those teams played, we know that I expect Auburn at least early to come out and do some no huddle up tempo, so you might be able to get some more possessions in that way. I'm just interested, like what I'm saying is, let's say Auburn wins 42-10. And like we're all kind of expecting something a little bit more than that, a 55-7 or something like that. But what if it's 42-10 and Peyton only gets to throw the ball 13 or 14 times just because of a lack of possessions due to the clock rules, and maybe Auburn gets a whole lot of plays in the first half, but then in the second half winds it down, runs the ball a lot, and then that combined with the clock rules, you maybe only have 2 or 3 possessions in the second half. I don't know. It's new. I'm interested to see how it plays out with us kind of going back to the more of the up tempo style this year.
Did you see the Ole Miss guy? He made the headlines with Auburn, with Lane and stuff, and like he was
Chris
big on
Lowe?
Lane. No, he was big on Lane coming to Auburn, and then he was saying, "Yeah, it's happening," and then it wasn't.
Oh, the Mississippi, the local
No,
guy.
no. This was McCready. He does a podcast or whatever. I was scrolling on TikTok the other night, and him and his guy were talking about during the Florida State and Georgia Tech game with the new clock rules and everything. There was like because they were talking about the possessions in the second half.
Yeah.
And he was saying that, when you get tackled, it's the same way with a shot clock in basketball. When you miss a shot, the shot clock, bang. All right. Possession is gained. Go. It starts. All right. Well, they were saying like in the Florida State and Georgia Tech game, you get tackled, and there was like a 10-second gap before they would start the play clock. Yeah. So they were waiting on the officials to set the ball, and then they were starting the play clock. So
game clock still running.
Yeah. Game clock still running, and they were waiting to set the ball and then start the play clock. So he added it up, and he was like, okay, let's just say that's an 8-second gap. All right. He was like 7 possessions. He was like, there you go. You do the math, man. He was like, you're losing a minute right there. Like you and everybody's like, oh, well, it's just a minute. No, a minute. What in that game, as close as it was, right. You look at that and it come down to a field goal to end the game. What if Georgia Tech kicks that field goal and Florida State has 45 seconds left, and they go down and kick like it plays a factor, man. We got to figure it out. Yeah, there it is. Neil McCready. Yep. That's it, Brett. I appreciate it, man. I saw that little piece that they did, and I thought that was interesting because I was like, hey, you've fixed all this stuff with the clock and you've maneuvered everything around, and now you got the 2-minute warning. I don't know if you guys are up to date with that, but be prepared for it. The second and the fourth, there will be a 2-minute warning, and we got to figure it out, Dustin. Like it's something that I think a lot of unders are going to be hitting this year because of this stuff.
Yeah, and they're not going to get on this one tonight, but I just don't know why. When you have a sport that's making millions and millions of dollars, you decide to mess with it. When there's nothing wrong with it, we have thousands of y'all that watch this show. We've had all kind of crazy comments, all kind of informed comments, heard from all spectrums. No one has ever said, I have not seen one time somebody say, that game was too long.
Yeah.
There's 12 of them. There's 12 of them. I promise you, I'm not sitting there in the second quarter like, I hope this ends soon. Nah, bro. I wait all year for this. It's crazy. It's crazy. But let's go over here and get a minute and kind of talk about what we want to see. But before we do that, I did want to give a shout out. We got a new member in the building tonight. Let me get to you, brother. As I click the wrong side of my mouse pad here. Dustin Lacey has become a new channel member, Up Tempo Gang. Welcome to the family, brother. We appreciate it. Lots of dope content coming out, lots of exclusive content. Hope you're into recruiting, baby, because we're pumping that recruiting hard right now, my guy. And I hope you get on there. I hope you enjoy it. Blake's got the Toodle Pod coming out later this week. I have got, and then we're back on the road Friday night, baby. I'm going to go catch Dante one more time. And then next week, I will be at Malik Autry. Opelika's playing at Auburn. Going to be a nice rivalry game there. I'll go see Malik Autry then. And then the following week, we'll go see Mr. Antonio Coleman over there at Saraland. So I got the next 3 games lined out. What we do, Dustin, is we break them down, look at the recruits, break down their film, talk about some intel. We do all kind of other stuff, though. We'll talk about memberships in a little bit. Glad you joined up. The Weakest Link says, I believe the hype when I see it on the field with PT. Hope he plays well this year, though. Let's get into that, the Weakest Link. What I want to see on offense, kind of sticking with that theme, Weakest Link, I hear you. You know what I mean? But when I say that Hugh Freeze is kind of calm the fan base, I believe him when it's like I think that the situation is just going to be better for Peyton Thorne this year. I think that the staff is on the same page, and obviously the receivers are better. No one's saying that Peyton Thorne's going to come out here and be an all SEC performer or nothing like that. Like I've said all summer, my goal is Chris Todd. That's why I asked Charlie Five, and that's why I asked Mike G the other night. Like, do you think we can get to those 09 Chris Todd numbers? And I think we can. And Mike's talked a lot to Peyton Thorne this summer, and I think that Peyton Thorne is really, really confident, and there just seems to be a whole different tone around this offense than there was last year. So what I want to see looking at Saturday is I'm going to kind of combine, if you went back and you watched our Tuesday night show, there was a little difference of opinion between Ike and Charlie Five as far as Charlie's been saying all week he wants to see the ball aired out. He wants to see us throw the ball around, and Ike says he doesn't necessarily care about the numbers. He just wants to see it be efficient. I kind of fall in the middle of that. Like, to me, it's kind of just like, how is it going to play out? I would damn sure like it if Auburn came out and PTE was 7 for 21 in the first half, 262 and all that. But let's see how it goes. What if he's 13 for 16, 2-3 TDs? Maybe we had a pick six and we had a couple long runs from a running back, and it's like, well, you're up 35-0 in the third quarter. He's 13 to 16, 2. Let's go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it just kind of depends on how it all plays out. And I am expecting that these freshmen and KLS is new and Robert Lewis is new. So is it going to be super crisp Saturday? I don't know. I'm just not sure. I was watching before we came on here. I was watching our boy Gus over there with his new little toys. Everybody said it was Cam Newton and all that, and they got stuffed on a 4th and 1, trying to run the QB power with that Mr. Cam Newton over there by New Hampshire. They looked like they were struggling a little bit out the gate with some new pieces and all that kind of stuff, and it's week 1 is what I'm saying. So I just don't know, man. But what I do want to see is I want to see guys enthusiastic. Yep. I want to see guys have a cup full of juice, as I always say. I don't want to watch this. It's week 1. I don't care who you're playing. I don't want to see any of this loafing around, half-assed running routes, none of that. I want to see the offensive line be physical. I want to see pancakes. I want to see Bulldogs on their ass. I want to see this team come out and play with an attitude on the offensive side. I want to see, when I watch our offense, if there are some miscommunications or some drop balls or whatever, week 1, cool. I want to be able to come away from the game Saturday and say, you know what? I think I know what Auburn's trying to do on offense. Because for about 5 years now, I've got no idea what we've been trying to do on offense. Mm-hmm. And I would argue our coaching staff either didn't have any idea or they've just been at odds at what would work. I want to see everything I've heard. Same page. Hey, Blake, check this out. 3rd and 1, keep the same quarterback on the field.
Yeah.
And just run the ball to get the first down. Let's do that. Let's do that. What I want to see is just nice, clean, efficient execution of the basics. Getting deeper into it, I'll do that week 2 versus a real team. But what I want to see week 1, man, is just our coaches and our players and everybody look like, hey, we know what we're trying to do going forward. We've seen it take great Auburn offenses a couple of weeks to get going. 2010, Auburn goes to Mississippi State week 2. Really struggled, barely got out of there with a dub. 2013, Mississippi State at home takes C.J. Uzomah late in the end zone, low-scoring game. Those offenses got rolling, so I'm not going to take a whole – but what I would say is, going back to both of those years, go back to the game 1, 2010 versus Arkansas State, go back to game 1 in that 2013 versus Washington State. I knew what Auburn was trying to do on offense coming out of those games. I knew what the game plan was, and eventually the execution of that game plan got better as the season went on and we found our groove. That's what I want, Blake, a game plan, and to see everyone on the offense focused, know what it is, and execute that damn thing, man. I want to see it.
I want to see no penalties. I want to see this offensive line. I want to see, like you said, talk about physicality. I want to see the rotations, the movement on the offensive line. Percy, where will he be at? Are they going to move him around? Tyler Johnson, things like that, man. I want to see the receivers. I want to see the young receivers go downfield, make some plays. I want it to be crisp. I don't want to go out there and first play we get a false start, and it just first play we pick up 6 yards and then we get a hold on play 2, and that's the things that I don't want to see. Like, I just want it to be crisp. I want to see PT. Is he making the right reads? Is he going to use his legs? Is he going to take the shots down the field? I want to see a more mature PT and a guy that shows me, hey, he's ready for week 2. He's ready for Cal. Let's unleash the beast right here and let him go. And Dustin, yeah, I'm not asking PT to go out here and throw for 450 yards against Alabama A&M. That we know that's not going to happen. But I do want him to go out here and be efficient, be accurate, and just make the right reads. Throw it. There was a lot of hesitation last year. There was a lot of hesitation with, I don't know if I want to throw it. I'm going to throw it, and he overthrows the football. Things like that, man. Let it rip. We talked about it the other night, the Samford game last year. That was a mess. That's what I don't want it to look like. That was a mess. It was, let me just chunk it downfield right here and hope somebody comes down with it. It's just, it looked bad. You knew right there, Auburn just wasn't good. And we, we get on here and we sugarcoat it and we, maybe it was just a rough night and all that stuff. No, that we weren't good, period. And you're right. I don't want to see the rotation of quarterbacks, which I don't think you will.
I know.
But that was one of the more aggravating things last year is 3rd and 1, and you're rotating guys, and then you get a false start, you get a delay a game because you're hearing a different cadence. It's just things like that, man. I 100% agree with Dustin. You want to see crisp decisions. You want this coaching staff together, and you want to handle the line of scrimmage, and you want to score points. That's another big thing I'm looking at. When Auburn gets inside the red zone, are you going to finish or are you going to settle for field goals? It's Alabama A&M. You better be sticking it in for 6. Auburn's biggest problem in the past 5 years on offense is, boy, somehow we figure a way to drive the 20s. I mean, we figure a way. I don't know how we've done it sometimes, but you even look at TJ Finley in the Penn State game. Brian Harsin, whatever he did, I don't know, but we drove the 20s. But when we got inside that red zone, man, it was just a complete disaster. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we're running one-man route trees out there. It's crazy to me, and it happened some last year. And so I want to see us get in the red zone and score, get 6, man. And then obviously I want to see our special teams, after we get 6, I want to see us, put it through, everything look good. Maybe if a drive does stall, what do we do there? Who comes out to kick? I know McPherson, they're saying he's a go. Maybe we see Towns. I don't know. But I just want it to be crisp, man. Get out of there. Nobody gets hurt on offense. We know what the running backs are going to do. I am interested in to see when Jarquez comes out, is it Damari or Jeremiah? I think that is one thing I'll be keyed in on. So, yeah, no penalties. Be clean. The offensive line's a big deal to me. And go out and just kick some tail, man. Get it done.
Yeah, some more comments before we get over to the defensive side. Tim Toolman Taylor says, out at a work dinner, basically drunk on a Thursday, so I'll miss this stream, but up tempo anyway. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. You're right here at the weekend, dude. You're knocking on the weekend's door, man. Get drunk, brother. Ain't nobody here gonna tell you to stop.
Some people got the club going up on a Tuesday. Hey. Right? So, man, that was a banger.
I'm too old for that now. Let's see. Brett says Blake has calmed my nerves on PT. Let's go. Right. And look, I want to say this, dude. I agree with something Blake said the other night. If he comes on here and plays bad, y'all know by now we're gonna say it. But I'm pulling for him, man. Like just on a human level, it's like, bro, I want you to succeed, and I've got some tweets bookmarked that I would love to fire out back off at Bear Bryant, Burner 27, and all these other losers.
The thing with that is we could really roll back some of the tape from last year and look at some of the stuff that he did, and you're like, man, why are we not catching that football?
Yeah.
His numbers are better if some of those balls are brought down. All right. Now I know he made terrible mistakes at times, like the throw at Vandy where he said he never saw the guy because of the shadows and all that. The throw at A&M. I mean, look, I get it. He played terrible in Baton Rouge, all that good stuff. All right. Yeah, that was one where I was extremely upset because of lack of effort. Um, but it's a new year, and when you go back and watch, you get on YouTube and you watch his tape at Michigan State. Is he the best quarterback to ever play? No, but I tell you what he did have. All right, he had Keon Coleman, and Keon Coleman bailed him from time to time. Peyton would throw a ball, and Keon Coleman would absolutely go up and get it. That's why he's in the NFL now. But now you got Cam Coleman,
Who will be in the NFL?
who will be in the NFL, barring injury. All right.
Yeah.
Hope it never happens. All right. You got Keandre Lambert Smith, a chain mover, a guy that's going to get open. He's going to secure the catch. You got weapons around him. You look at the backfield at Michigan State, he had Kenneth Walker, who's also in the NFL. You got Jarquez Hunter behind you and two more that can make a difference. So there's weapons there. That's why we get on here and we talk about common PT, and we know everybody's not on the PT train, and that's fine. You don't have to be. But my thing is when I walk into that stadium, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it this Saturday, but next Saturday, when I walk in that stadium, I'm all Peyton Thorne. Dustin is too. Like we all should be. When one trot's out there, it should be your full head of steam for Peyton Thorne. You shouldn't be in the stands saying, "Oh man, oh here we go." It should be Walker White or it should be Hank Brown. No, it should be Peyton Thorne. That's your guy. That's the guy, man. Like back this dude, because what happens, Dustin, if he goes out here and we win 9 games, dude's going to be praised. Like in my opinion, I think you have to give him the Chris Todd treatment and say, "Hey, look, like you did your job. Like you advanced the program, in my opinion." So I'm full head of steam for Peyton Thorne. I hope he does better than 16th best quarterback in the conference. All right, like as what some people have ranked him, which I think is dog crap, is what I'll say.
We'll get to revisit it, and it's up to him to stick it to him. What I want to see on the defensive side, new DC DJ Durkin making his debut, and I want to see him, Blake. I want to see him do what he did to us at A&M. I don't want it. Yeah. I don't care that it's the first game and blah blah blah, brother. You were running stunts and doing all kind of stuff at A-Day. So let's let this thing go, man. I want to see us get after the quarterback. That's what I want to see. I want to see us just wreck Cabinet, the quarterback. I don't even want to have because my questions aren't going to be answered about the secondary this week anyway.
Yep.
So I don't even care. Like I care, but like whatever, bro. I want to see us smash at the line of scrimmage to shut down the run game. No big plays in that at all. And then, but I want to see their quarterback like have a really, really, really rough day. And yeah, man, I did kind of like the same thing on offense. No stupid penalties, too many men in the huddle, blah, blah, blah. Like, look as clean as you can, create some turnovers. But, yeah, I just want to see everybody flying around, being fast, being physical, and I want to see at least like 4 or 5 sacks, Blake, and maybe a forced fumble. I want it to be one of them things where even though you played a smaller team, it still stands out to you how much you kind of physically dominated on defense.
Yep.
Like when you look at it and you're like, listen, I know we were playing Alabama A&M, but my God, that was like 7 big hits. I want to see Keldrick eat. I want to see all these guys that we've kind of talked about. Keldrick, Eugene, I want to see them get off to a hot start. Kay and Lee be locked down. Like I just want to see the stars shine and get out of there early. Quarterback, Blake, that's what I want to see. I want to see Auburn get after the quarterback because I ain't seen it in a little while.
I want to see a defense that will absolutely knock the piss out of you.
Yeah.
Is what I want to see. Pin your ears back, make a play. I want to see what this defensive front's about. I got a pretty good gauge of what the linebackers are going to be. We look at the secondary. I don't know if they're going to get a whole lot of action because I think Alabama A&M's run heavy. I don't think at least last year, I don't think they threw the ball a whole lot. I think they ran it mostly, but they do have a slew of transfers. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do this year. Kind of hard to gauge there, I guess. So I do want to see a team that gets after it, man. You match that energy that your DC brings, right? Um, Once again, clean, not over pursuing, taking yourself out of plays. I felt like a couple of years that you see Auburn take themselves out of plays every now and then early in the season. Just make the right reads and go find the football. Force a couple turnovers. I want us hard hitting, tackling in open space. DBs got to tackle. We got to tackle in open space. We've had problems with it. DJ was great, struggled at times tackling in space. All right. Fly around the field, gang tackle, make it happen. Don't give up a point.
Yeah.
I really don't want you to give up a point. I really don't. Now I know it's probably going to happen. I think we'll get to that in a minute. I think you give up, 6, 7 maybe, but I don't want to see 0. All right, I don't want to see any giving up. And if it does happen where A&M goes on a drive, and I want to see how you respond when they get the ball in Auburn territory. If they get it inside the red zone, let's see that red zone defense. Can you hold up and force a field goal? Those are the things I want to see. I want to see what DJ Durkin's like. All right. I want to see it's game time. We saw it in 8A, but now it's game time. I want to see if you match what you brought the energy, which I think he will. Always been a huge DJ guy. Like when Auburn made that hire, I was on it. Everything that happened in his past, it's over. He's at Auburn now. He's our DC. Go out there and make it happen, man. Just be clean and crisp.
I said I didn't really care about the secondary. One thing that would be good was like if an Antonio Kite or a JC Hart had like a big pick. Yeah, because like they got a big play early that kind of sets their season off on the right track. That would be pretty good. But yeah, I hear you, man. I would, if we don't goose egg them, at least let the first team defense goose egg them. You know what I mean? If they get some in the second half on some backups and all that, I would love to just see DeMarcus Reddick get a sack. Amaris Williams, some of these freshmen make a couple plays and kind of establish ourselves because we're going to need them. We're going to need them. Malik Blockton, get in there and get you a tackle for loss, something like that. Jason says he is more concerned with seeing an offensive line that's dominant in every facet. Yeah, brother. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we come away from this game and our O-line didn't completely dominate, definitely would be something to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Brett says sack fest. That's what I'm hoping for, man. I miss those days. I want to get back to them. I think this is a good opportunity to kind of get off on the right track doing that. Miss Angela Crotchfeld in the building tonight. Good to see you. Love you. Appreciate you.
Texas Tech.
Yes, sir. When it comes to that baseball, pulling for them Texas Tech, as long as they don't play Auburn, you know the deal, Miss Angela. Wishing y'all all the best. Connie says, AU fans should respect PT. Look at the mess he played in. He was set up for failure and skull drugged by the media and AU fans. He stayed. It says a lot for his character. I'm pulling for him. Absolutely. This is it's being the quarterback of a big-time program in the SEC, that's just a lot of pressure, especially a team like Auburn, where we know how our fan base is. With that passion comes with a price sometimes, Connie. The passion comes with a price. But listen, that's any big-time college football, especially down here in the South. We love our teams and we're passionate about it. But I do agree with you. Like, it does go too far sometimes. It's always – I've learned it in the year or two that me and Blake have been doing this. The people that are the loudest are usually the ones that don't know anything or don't have like a very good context. Yeah. The burner accounts on social media. And like even now, we see you guys that were here with us all summer. And I'm just going to tell you all the truth. You see the crowd that's here throughout the summer, and then you see the crowd that kind of bumps back in when the season starts. And I love all of you. Appreciate you all for being here. But the people that are watching and keeping up with Auburn in like March, May, June, July, those are typically the ones that act right and are a little bit more informed. And I say that because those are the ones you listen to the Mike G interviews and everybody else, you follow it. By now what the offense was with Philip Montgomery and the dysfunction that it was. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Now, Connie, If he comes out and he plays bad like he did last year, then I don't want it. None of us want to hear the excuses, right? So that's the beautiful thing about 6:30, y'all. The time for talk is over. The time for guessing, the time for predicting, and all that kind of stuff, it's done, man. So like from here on out, we get to talk about what actually happens, and I can't wait, dude. I can't wait.
What happens if PT does throw a pick Saturday? What happens? Because I just
on the rest of the game.
I just know that how our fan base is. Look, I love Auburn fans, but if PT was to throw a pick, it would just I think Twitter would set fire. I really do. I really do. I think it was
a bad one, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if it's a deflection off a receiver's hands or something and all that, but if he throws a bad one and makes a wrong read or something, it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to these score predictions, Blake. Score predictions for the week. I went with 49-10. Blake goes with 55-6. Like I said, I just have some questions about. I still have a score of 49, but I think it's gonna be one of the deals where you get up big in the first half, hopefully, and you see the kind of the starter or the starters come out early in the second half, and then at that point with the new clock rules, how many possessions do we get in the second half? I just don't know. We're going to learn together. And I like Blake. I hope it's a goose egg when the first string's out there. I can see the first string maybe giving up I mean, listen, you still have a new DC. You still have a new OC. And you still have a whole bunch of freshmen on both sides of the ball. So if there's a miscommunication on defense that leads to a big play, it is what it is, man. If there's a mistake or a miscommunication, if the receiver runs a completely wrong route and then PT throws the pick, and it turns out, well, that receiver is a freshman in his first game, I'm just not going to really overreact to it. So I want to see everything be clean and efficient, but I also know it's week one and there might be some times where it doesn't. So yeah, man, I'm going 49-10.
I'm going 55-6 just because I don't think they're going to be able to move the football on our defense. I think that our offense is just got playmakers everywhere, man, and I just don't know if their secondary can hold up against these receivers, and I'm not sure if their front can stop Jarquez, Damari, and Jeremiah. I don't see a world where this game is, I look, what is Auburn was 47.5.
Yeah.
I'm taking. I think they cover. I do. I like Auburn big, and shout out to one thing about Alabama A&M. I got to say this. I got to give them a shout out real quick, just because Colton Nero, a guy from Foley High School, played with Perry. I've heard that he's actually like related to Perry. Maybe, I don't know. That could be out there. But I know they went to Foley High School together, and we got to watch him play a couple times last year.
Good.
And he's a heck of a player. Shout out to him getting to play big time football inside Jordan Hare Stadium Saturday. I do wish him a heck of a game, just because I'm always about my 2-5-1 guys. I'm always going to shout you out. So Colton Nero, run that dang tater, son.
Yeah. He had a solid year last year. I thought he was definitely under recruited. Had some big schools looking at him, but they never pulled the trigger. So, but he's a physical back, and I'm pulling for him. All right, guys. Look, we will be back beginning of next week, most likely Sunday, maybe Monday. We'll figure it out with a review of hopefully a big time win. Follow us on social for all the updates. Follow me at DMcShaw28. Follow Blake right there on your screen at the Uptempo Podcast. Smash that thumbs up button. Do us a favor. Share this podcast right here out on social media. I don't think a lot of people knew that we were going live tonight. Share this out on social media. Let them know that we were here. And like I said, man, we'll be back to celebrate this big win. Long summer, the long wait is finally over, baby. I'm excited for it. War Damn Eagle. We'll see y'all in the next one, man.
War Damn.